Sister Silverine, Ambassador Extraordinaire of Pain, Parental Alienation Awareness International Network, and we are talking about From Pain to Healing, where we are going to have a series of talks on Sundays from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sankhya TV. Thank you.
So, Sister Silverine, on our last episode, we spoke about the different cultures from your travels all across the world. And you mentioned the Latin American cultures that you noticed in the Caribbean and South America, that the environment that these young people are growing up in make them prone to violence and prone to, let's say, a sort of broken personality.
Bad relationships.
Bad relationships where,
Yes.
naturally speaking, they expect that to be a reality. Let's talk about Trinidad. What have you noticed in Trinidad and Tobago, culturally, that may lead to problems in the individual?
Here in Trinidad, because we come from a mixed culture, you will find the different cultures having a different kind of traditional system. I'm sure you know very well that, especially in the Indian culture, the women are taught that no matter how hard it is in your family, even if your husband abuses you, you are taught to stick to that relationship no matter what. But we have seen that even though women and young girls are following that trend, it had led to a lot of domestic violence because they want to stay in the relationship even though it was abusive. But it had led to a lot of violence and deaths also. On the other hand, we take a look at the different other cultures that we have here in Trinidad. We have a very cosmopolitan population here, as you know, which means we have different ethnic groups. And the different ethnic groups also have a different mentality, different way of thinking, a different way of living also. So you will find different or other cultures or races having a different kind of traditional system that they follow, which is a more free lifestyle. Free means that you're okay to go and have more than one spouse or partners. And that is okay. For them, it's okay. But what is the main outcome or result of this free-spirited kind of living, where you think that it's okay for you to have more than one spouse or partners? So you have a first partner, and then you have the child coming out from that relationship. Then you think that this relationship or this partner is not very good for you. So you leave him, or vice versa. He leave her or she leave him. But that child is there in the middle of this relationship. Father leaves. Then mother finds someone else who she is comfortable with or happier with. And this other person comes into this child's life. Now, this second person, a stepfather coming into the life of another child, will not accept and appreciate another man's child as much as he would appreciate his own child. So you would realize that this second person, the stepfather, will not 100% and not in all circumstances have all that love, acceptance, and a good relationship with a stepchild. not in all cases. You may find 1 in a million where a stepfather loves his stepchildren wholeheartedly. That is a blessed person. But generally speaking, it is not seen and accepted in many cultures where a stepfather really accepts a stepchild as his own. Very rare. So the child also, knowing that this is not my real father, is a stepfather. He does not really come close to the stepfather. He keeps his distance because he knows he has another father. And his love is for the other father, the real father. So because he knows he has this father, which is not with him physically, it's also very difficult for him to develop a new relationship with this stepfather. So in his mind, what is happening? That child is also going through his own mental and emotional traumas, where he has fallen, I wouldn't say victim, but he has fallen like, it's like a victim to a relationship that is not stable. Because here he has his mother, which is not stable, that is not stable in her relationships. One father, second father. So this child that is in this relationship now, that is not receiving the love, the affection, the attention, and the acceptance that he needs in this family, he starts seeking for this love and attention and acceptance outside. And he searches for it in friends, in other family members, in the community. We look up to community leaders as persons who they can turn to in times of need. And sometimes, most of the times, these children, especially boy children, they find themselves in the company of those who may not lead them in the right direction. As we say here in Trinidad, they went to the gangs. They find themselves in those company that cannot help them emotionally, mentally, and neither physically. Because now there is a dependence on this gang, on these individuals who are not leading the children, young boys especially, in the right direction. But they are happy that these children are not happy in their homes, so they can have another individual in their group. So they're happy for that. And they are offered things, material things like guns, maybe clothes, maybe a car, but they have to do or work for this member, this leader. And this is the way they are going to start a new life. So because this little child, this young boy, is seeking love and attention outside, it makes him fall victim to the wrong and negative influences in the society, if you understand what I mean. And this is how young boys are lured to become violent. And of course, I don't want to say a nuisance to society, but it could lead to that, where they are not really appreciated in society because they are involved in violent acts. They are involved in crime. They get themselves involved in the not positive approach to life, but a negative approach to life. And this is what leads them to their own death. their own demise, their own downfall in the society. That's why our prisons today is full of people. I have been to the prisons many times in Trinidad to give lectures. And you meet some very, very beautiful and wonderful people inside here. Really appreciating the classes, love the classes. When they hear I'm coming to give classes, everybody comes to class. And they tell me, sister, only when we know you're coming, then we come. I mean, you don't have to put all of this. And so they appreciate the class because they learn, because I treat everyone equally. I don't see them as criminals inside here, but I see them as individuals who needs love, who have a need. They have a desire to be accepted, appreciated, loved in society. And so when I go there, I go with such an open mind and heart. And I speak to them with so much love. I call them each one my brothers. You are my brother, I am your sister. And if you develop such a relationship with them, a healing starts taking place in the minds of these individuals. Because love heals. Acceptance, appreciation, this is what helps these people to start healing what they are going through. And in this way, there are many, many people out there who are suffering from a lot of emotional and mental traumas. Some people hide it. They don't want others to know. But if you keep hiding it, you will never get help. In order for you to heal whatever you are going through, you need to seek help. You need to talk to people. And only when you come out and express yourself, express your emotions, only then you could start healing.
So let's take it back now to the stepfather, let's say the broken homes, but also the homes like you mentioned in the Indian culture where you stay together even in domestic violence.
Yes.
So let's not say broken homes, but homes where it's not a sanctuary to the child.
Yeah.
How do you see it affecting females, the girls and the young women?
So in the case of females, young girls and women, even being brought up in a home where there is, I would say, violence, or there is a lot of misunderstanding, there is bad relationship between parents, these young girls feel and think that if they get married and go out, they will leave this bad relationship. And so this is what happens. Young girls, they go and they look for someone, they get married, thinking that if I get married and leave this home where there is so much going on, I'll be better, or I'll be happy. So they find someone, not because the other person is good, but simply because they want to leave the home where there is some sort of, not fighting, maybe violence, conflict going on. So in order to leave this home where there is conflict, they think that if I get married and go, if I find someone and go.
One thing I wanted to, as we're in the house still, is that have you ever noticed that the daughters have it a little bit more difficult in terms of probably her mother might think she's having a relationship with the stepfather, or it may be where the stepfather is making the stepdaughter uncomfortable in terms of a sexual nature, in terms of wanting to leave the home to get away from something like that?
There could be many, many reasons. That could be a reason. But there could also be other reasons where mother and fathers constantly conflict with themselves. Or she could be suffering some kind of pressure, either from mother or father or from somebody. Or even other conflicts in the home, which may not involve her. But because she is in the house, it is affecting her mentally and emotionally. So she feels, like even if two brothers are fighting, or have a dispute because of property, or whatever dispute in the home. And in order to get out of that conflict, that mental, emotional traumas that she's going through because there is no peace here. There is nothing here for me, for example. So they go searching for love, for happiness, for peace outside. And so they fall in some relationship that may not be a healthy relationship either.
Why do you think that is, that they choose unhealthy relationships?
Yes, so in order to get out of this situation that they are in, whoever they find, it's like, if you are really desperate. So in this desperate situation, they go and search for someone. They think, no, let me just shack up with this person and get out of this conflict here. Even if they have to live in a little shack, they think they will be happy. But here they find someone who may, between commas, could be, as well as the contrary, may or may not be the best partner. Because they're just looking to leave. No matter who they find, just to leave the house they want to leave. So they find whoever they come across and they shack up with this person. Not because of love, but because of pressure. Or they are forced to. Because I know there are some parents, when the children start growing up, especially girls, they think that the girls must leave their home at least by the age of 20. Get married and leave. And if that girl child stays in the house until after 20, then they start pressuring her to leave. You should be married and go on from here, what you're doing here and things like that. I have heard people saying like that. So this girl child is also under pressure. And here she chose someone who, out of desperate circumstances, because she wanted to leave the house that she was living in. And here she shack up with this person, who also maybe was going through his own traumas. And he was also thinking, maybe yes, if I have someone in my life, I would change, I'll be better, I'll get the love I'm seeking, I'll get the happiness I'm searching for, and things like that. So here these two people who have the same needs come together. And
so I'm guessing that need is the need for love.
Love and happiness, both.
Let's define that. What is happiness that you think in your line of your field? What is happiness?
Happiness is that state of mind where I am free from desires. Free from desires, which means no matter what happens, there is nothing that could destroy my happiness because I am contented. So happiness is connected with contentment. Once there are desires in your mind, unfulfilled desires, you could never be happy. Once you are contented, and I can tell a little story if you don't mind. So there was this guy wanted to search for a guru in order for him to be educated on the spiritual path. And he found this guru, and the guru invited him to his home. And when they went in, all this person, this individual, the seeker, saw in the guru's home was a lamp and a mat. So the seeker asked the guru, well, where are your furnitures? And the guru said, ask him, well, where are yours? He said, I am just a visitor. I'm just passing through. And the guru said, so am I. Which means, we don't need all the things that we have or we think that we need to be happy in life. Because when you die, what are you going to take with you? Nothing. So all these things that we think we need are only for our physical comfort, not our mental and emotional happiness. The majority of things we have are only for our either physical comfort or temporary pleasures. Temporary pleasures. But that deep sense of contentment and happiness can only be achieved when we realize that all this is not necessary. For example, one simple example. So I have seen and heard that people have at least 20-30 pairs of shoes. How many pairs of shoes are you going to wear at the same time? Do you need 20 pairs of shoes? Do you really, really need? I mean, sit down and think for yourself. Do you really need 20 pairs of shoes?
Well, then we have to define need, because some people looking at the program will say, yes, I need 20 pairs of shoes.
You really don't need. It's more a desire to have it.
What's the difference
Because-
between a need and a
Very
desire?
good. Very good question. So a desire is where I feel that if I have, the more I have, the more happy I will be. So I go buying and I'm thinking that I'll be happy if I have this. I'll be happy if I have the next. So I'll be happy if I have at least 20 pairs of shoes. And even if you have 20 pairs of shoes, you're still not happy. What that means? Your desires was not fulfilled, which means that desire that is being created out of an emptiness inside of you, what we call a void, cannot be filled by any physical or material element. But what is creating this desire is this emptiness. And because of this emptiness, this void that I have within me, inside of me, I think if I have X amount of shoes, for example, I'll be happy. And here I have X amount of shoes and I'm still not happy. That is a want, a desire. Desire that cannot be fulfilled through material things. A need is what is necessary. So yes, food is necessary, clothing is necessary, shelter is necessary. Of course, a pair of shoes, a few pairs of shoes is necessary. That's needs. But when my expectations, my desires go beyond my needs, then it becomes desires. Wants, not needs. So there is a big difference between needs and desires. Needs means what is very necessary, and desires means wants is what I desire to have, which may not be necessary. Is it? So there are people who have loads of clothes, for example. How much clothes are you going to wear at the same time? And you may have this clothes for 10, 20 years and not even using it. I have seen people, they have lots of clothes. They cannot even wear all of that clothes in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years.
Some people still have their wedding outfit.
Right, for many years.
And
why are we keeping all of these things? So all of this shows that unhappiness. I am unhappy. I am not contented. There's a lot of discontentment, a lot of unhappiness, and people are seeking for this happiness outside, externally, in material things. But we have seen that no material element or factor can fulfill or fill this void, this emptiness that we have inside of us. So we are never happy, never. And the other question was?
I think
love.
if you look at the wealthiest person in the world and you ask them what they desire, they still have a desire on their mind,
Yes.
something that they want.
Yes, because there's always a desire to be happy, to be at peace, or to be loved, for example. But no material and physical element could fill this emptiness or this void that we have within us. Because this void that is generating the desires is not a physical void, but a spiritual void. And that can only be filled through spirituality, spiritual knowledge, and the practice of meditation.
So we are nearing the end of today's episode, and we covered a lot. And we still have a lot of questions that came up during this talk. Just a little recap is that we are at the point where we were discussing a young person who is coming from a broken home where there's disharmony, and it leads to a situation where they are seeking love, or they are seeking peace,
Attention.
or they are seeking attention and happiness. So we are saying, well, we continue to define what is happiness, but we still have to define what is love, and I don't think we'll be able to reach a conclusion on that specific one, because I know that's a broad topic.
Also,
And
yes.
so we are at the point where, let's say, the broken home has produced people who are, let's say, seeking happiness and seeking love. But do you think those people coming from broken homes are well equipped? to find happiness and love?
Could never be well equipped.
So once again, I want to thank you for joining us. Well, thank you for sitting with me and having this conversation. And on the next episode, naturally, I have a lot more questions to ask because we have to continue from where we left off today.
Mm-hmm.
And like always, it was a pleasure being here, a pleasure speaking with you. And I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Join us globally every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Sankhya Television as Parental Alienation Awareness International Network, PAIN, presents Ambassador Extraordinaire Brahma Kumari's Sister Silverine Mangru with the series From Pain to Healing.
This program is sponsored by Sampex Limited, Networking Societies for a Better Future.